So this is a 2010 Sorento, which is a 2.2 diesel. So customer complaint is that he has an issue with like a hard start. He has to start his vehicle using starter fluid, right? So let's see if we could see if what the problem is, right? Eventually the car do start, right? When he spray some starting fluid in it, so it definitely is not like crank sensor or electrical fault or something like that. So it's something like it has something to do with fuel, right? So let's see if we could get the symptoms again. Right, so you're just getting like a long crank when you're trying to start the vehicle. So let's see what we can do to diagnose this vehicle, right? Just carry the diesel injectors. So what I'm gonna do first, I'm gonna just hook up a probe and see if I'm getting the injectors to fire, right? And probably check fuel pressure. So I'm going to use my Hscope to see if I can determine where the misfire is coming from, right? We believe it's number 1 and number 2 cylinder, right? But I'm going to just sync off on number 1 using my vibration probe, and I also got the probe, right? The delta pulse sensor in the exhaust, right? So let's put this vehicle to record. Let's put the scope on record, sorry, and I'm going to start the vehicle up and see what we get, right? Alright, so it starts right up after a few cranks, right? So we're going to take some capture real quick. I'm going to stop it because it's really loud. Like I said, he complains about the vehicle is hard starting and asks if I could just take a glance at it, right? So the blue trace is the, what is the blue trace? The blue trace is the vibration probe, and the red trace is the exhaust pulse sensor, right? So we're gonna open this out a little bit. Let me see if I can bring this down. Bring it up real quick. We're gonna bring this down here. I'm gonna open it up. Alright, so if we do that, as I said, I'm sync off for number 1. I'm trying to see how I can open this up. Alright, so I would believe the large spike that we see on the screen is number 1. Alright, so every time we see that large spike, that has to be number 1. Let me see if I can put a rule on it. Sorry, hold on, man. Alright, so every time we see that large spike, that gotta be number 1 firing. Sorry about the noise in the background. I gotta always apologize for that, Alright, so we see the last spike, right? This is number 1. So I can use, instead of using my arm clamp, I can use this vibration probe, or even the vibration probes from J Quill, right? Quillen. I can use the probes from him that he sent me, and I can use that as a sync instead of using my arm clamp, right? So I'm just using the noise frequency as my sync and number 1. So this firing order will be 1 3 4 2, right? So this is 1. Let's see if we can open this up a little bit more. Right, so this is 1 1 3 4 2 back to 1. But I'm seeing like a serious harsh on number 2 also, right? So I'm gonna look into that. Right, so anytime what you gotta do now on exhaust pulse, you gotta go, this is sync, so we gotta go 3 up to 360, right? Which will be, let's see, do I have rulers? I do have rulers. I can, let's see. Right, so if I put this here, right? And I'm gonna change this to 720. Right, so this is 20. Let's open this up here. Oh man, come on. Alright, so this is 720 right here. Right, so this is a 4-cylinder, so 720 is the amount of degrees that per cycle. Right, so let's see. This is 360. If I'm doing exhaust, I gotta go to the left. I'm gonna go to the left, which is number 1, 3, 4, back to 2. So is it misfiring? I'm not sure that it is. I'm gonna just take a snapshot of this, save it to my drive. Let's save it. Is it misfiring based on that pulse? I believe I would have saw like a deeper pull, right? But 1 and 3 look about the same height, and 4 and 2 is about the same height. So am I seeing anything like out of the norm? With I'm seeing number 1 not looking clean, like, you know, is have a rough, but then it smooths out here. They're looking good here. And let's go again. This number 1 again. Number 1 don't look too good. This is number 1, 3, 4, 2. Is it enough to pull the injectors? I may have to use the scan tool to see the contribution or the feedback, but sometimes you gotta be careful with that contribution feedback using the scan tool, because sometimes the ECU will, like, let's say, he will overcompensate sometimes on the other cylinder because a next cylinder is having issue, you know. So you gotta be careful when you do that, right? But I'm just looking for anything that will stand out to tell me that number 1, you don't have the fault. As I said, this is number 1 right here. This is 3, this is 4, and this is 2. Do I see anything? Let me do over my test again and see if that will help, right? So, as I said, we hooked up to number 1 using vibration, so I don't have to unravel this or even back probe. I'm just going straight off the metal pipe, right? If I want, I could go to the different injectors and, you know, use that as my sink. Alright, so let's start again. Alright, so the vehicle has a hard start. Alright, let's stop this. You're actually hearing it sound like it's misfiring. I said, let's see what the waveform. This look better. This look much better. You see that pull? Let's open this up. Matter of fact, before we do anything, let's take a picture, a snapshot of this. Alright, so let's see if we can diagnose this thing. Alright, so I'm synced on number 1. This will be 1, 3, 4, 2, back to 1. So if I'm doing exhaust, this would be my number 1. This would be my number 3. This would be my number 4. This is my number 2. So why am I getting a deeper pull on number 3? A good question. I'm not sure. Right, let's pull our rules and rulers and see if that helps. Alright, so if we go, this is, oh man, come on, where are you? Alright, so this is my number 1. Where are you, man? Come on. Alright, so this is let's see if we could change this. So if we say this is, oh, why are you rolling? Alright, this is not working out with these gloves on. Alright, so what I'm gonna do, I wanna just hop on the computer real quick and see if I can analyze this waveform, and so I can give the customer some feedback what to do. Right, these injectors are very costly, so if you need to service it, that'd be nice, but if not, you have to get it replaced. Do we have an injector issue? We do look like we have a misfire, but I need to narrow down where the misfire is coming from. So that said, let me jump on the computer real quick, and then probably should be able to get some definitive answers where we could get this vehicle up and running again.
6 hours later.
With that completed, what we did is replace the fuel filter, right? Check for any kind of metal shavings in the coming out of the fuel filter, because this have a mechanical pump that, you know, the spring tend to fail after a while, and the shavings start to go and clog the injectors, right? So let me show you the injectors that was replaced. I replaced number 1 and number 2 injector. I said also, what the client mentioned to me is that every time he replaced the return line, it tends to blow off, like actually shoot right out, right? So these are the injectors that we replaced, right? I had some injectors, I tried to get it serviced, but it wasn't good. So as you can see, it, you know, this was number 1, I believe, but as you can see, the compression was leaking also, so I replaced the compression washers on it, and also the return line, right? He said that he was driving and he lost power a few times, and he ended up getting the original line. If you want to know the part number, let me see if I could get a close up. Right, so that's the part number for the fuel return line. Right, so yeah, like, let's see if I can get it out. Right, what he mentioned is that it keep blowing off, especially right here, right? So I believe that the injector return pressure was so high that it was causing this to back off, and it's like the second time he replaced it. As I said, these just come with a crimp right here, and well, he did that, right? So you gotta replace this line. The line is very expensive for some unknown reason. I replaced the fuel filter, and I said, I inspect it for any kind of filings, metal shavings, right? So let's see how the vehicle, if this vehicle will start now, or if it's still cranking and not starting, right? So let's go on the driver's side. Alright, so matter of fact, let me hook up my tools before I continue recording. So we're going to check for any codes, right? I'm going to do an automatic scan, and then we're going to try to start the car after we do the fuel compensation and make sure we don't have no leaks. I'll probably do an air bleed also, right? And that should be it, right? So let's see why that is scanning, right? As I said, I got my sensor on hooked up to my number 1 reel, right? I'm gonna set up my scope again. It's still the same test I did earlier. I'm gonna do it again, right? Let's stop this until I'm ready to start. Right, I'm gonna look to see if we see any dropouts where on the exhaust, where the let's see. All right, so we got some codes here. Let's diagnose this. I can never figure out what this CPF and minus and positive is, but I'm just gonna go into. So basically, what it tell me that the ECM PCM power relay control circuit is open, a P0685, P2264 watts and water and fuel sensor circuit active. P2563 error in VG actuator position feedback. P0047 turbocharger and P0088 fuel rail system pressure too high. Right. So we're not seeing anything with injectors. So what I'm gonna do is make a report first of all this. I'll make a report. I'm gonna save this. Ignition voltage P17. Listen, I'm gonna just make a report. I'm gonna save it. Right, I'm gonna save it, and then I'm gonna come out of that. I'm gonna clear all these codes because, as I said, I'm not sure if they unplug stuff. It shouldn't have no water in the system because I replaced the fuel filter, so I'm not sure why you have fluids or water still in it. Let's read codes again. So it's keep popping up. What do? I can inform the customer and let him take it from there. He's on a budget, a tight budget, and these injectors are very costly that he purchased. So I'm gonna just let him know that he have other problems with his vehicle and that needs to be checked out. It's up to him if he want to go forward with it, but he just came to me for the hard start problem. So as I said, I'm gonna start this vehicle up. You could just take a picture of these codes or take a view of it. And he just came for the hard start, crank no start issue, which I believe I solved via the injectors, replacing the injectors, and I'm going to verify my fix, and that should be it. So I'm hearing a lot of noise coming from this vehicle. That shit is really loud. I'm not sure exactly what the noise is about, but it sounds like things is like breaking up. What do I do? As I said, the client is on a tight budget, and he wants things fixed, but it's gonna be a little tricky to fix this. Hold on, let me take this off. Right. So the client wants his vehicle up and running, but this vehicle has a lot of issues where I'm not sure if it's in his budget. At least I got the vehicle started, right? And let's see my waveforms, how it look. Come on. Right, so let's make this smaller and open it out, something like this. Right, so we're gonna spread this out like this so I can see my waveform much better. Yeah, looking good. Alright, so I believe I got it set up where this, hold on real quick, let me see if I can. Alright, so the red trace is the exhaust pulses, and the blue trace is the #1 sync on using the vibration probe, right? So I'm going to, so every time you see that large spike is when #1 fires, right? Let's see right here. Alright, so it definitely look good, like there's no misfire, not seeing no big dropout, no pulls, you know. Yeah, so that should be good. So I'm going to call the client and let him know that his vehicle is ready, but he has some other issues. So if you want, you can, hold on, let me stop that. Right, so this is a good, like, if you, for the diesel guys, right, the reason I got this tool is really easy. You hook up to the injector that you want to check out or want to sync off of, and you use vibration as, you know, as your sync. As you can see, it's really clean, and if you know the firing order, it's like I do, this is 1, 3, 4, 2, back to 1. You can identify if you have, I'm not sure, I'm going to do a video to see I can identify failing injectors using noise in the near future, right? But this is an easy way for me to figure out what cylinder has a misfire using an exhaust pulse or even an intake pulse, and that's it. So, or even if I had like a head gasket issue, I guess, you know, I could probably figure that out too, right? So yeah, I hope you like what you saw. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comment, all that good stuff. Until next time, take it easy.